XRP is at 34 cents, just floating around, guys. Like before, right? Just ranging around. We need to know. Someone has to tell me, guys. Comment down below. When will they finally make a move, right? Because it's just been stable for how long now? Months, right? If not longer, guys. Something has, I mean, it seems like something is brewing, to say the least. So let's pay attention, right? Let's not get distracted. Let's look at all different types of scenarios, guys. But next, before you update some potential value only. Now, today's video, it's a more unique video, guys, right? We're going to go in depth about certain topics in today's video. So pay attention. First things first. From DJ Freedom Rocket. So a NFL player just dropped to the ground and potentially died suddenly live on TV. When will people start talking about the elephant in the room as to what is causing this worldwide phenomenon, right? So this is the video right here. Here's the video for reference. Then the man's name, Hamlin. Pray for him and his family. As you guys can see right here, guys. Right, suddenly just drops. Right there.
Yeah,
so
not what any of us want to see, and everybody's around.
We got a question on why this is happening. By the way, this isn't the first time I've seen this take place, right? On Twitter, there has been multiple videos, guys, of people just suddenly dropping, right? Look at that right there. So here's what the inventor of that says about it, guys, right? So people are talking about it correlates to that right there, as you guys can see, right? If you guys would like to pause and check this stuff out, you guys can, but I'll have the links down below. People are afraid to talk about what just happened because they are in denial. Right? Exactly, the elephant in the room will be happening a lot all over the world. Very, very sad. Prayers for this young man. Exactly, guys. So it's crazy because there's a round 2 incoming with the thing that took place back in 2020, guys. There seems to be they're planning a round 2, right? We're going to be talking about that in one of the probably in tomorrow's video or whatnot. But in a more deeper sense, what do we have here from XX? Game week 17, number 3 tackles 85, right? Number 85, which is 88 total, transcending space and time and space. Hamlin equal 33. The drafted NFL 5/1/2021. Hamlin collapses is 6/11 days, which is 9/11, right? So I'm just saying, guys, we have to open our minds, right? What are the chances of this happening, right? We have to question what's reality. Think about that, guys. Any particular reason that Georgia Bulldogs, Green Bay Packers, and Grambling University have the same exact G font on their respective helmets, right? Look at that, guys. Which then correlates to what? Behind the Masonic symbols. This Freemasonry, right? Freemasons and whatnot, guys. So, as well as what? The quote-unquote top G, right? And this year is 3222223, which is what's another 7, right? So again, we got confirmed, guys, that this year we're going to see a lot of these external events take place, right? That correlates to what? Rituals and whatnot. Now, I'm not saying this is a ritual that just took place, but other people are, as we see right here. NFL ritual of the night after the scripted quote-unquote injury to Hamlin. Notice that the only person standing in the photo is what? Number 33, right? What are the chances of that, guys? What? That's crazy. Then there are some interesting matches to Hamlin, like Donald J. Trump and Antichrist in 2 ciphers, as you guys can see. So if you put down his name into gematria, what does it come out as? Reduction is 49, which is what? 9413, right? Mirrored. Donald J. Trump is 49 as well. Antichrist as well. Oh, wow. Look at that right there, guys. Whoa, wait a moment. Under the Antichrist, right? What do we have there? Whoa, do we see the correlations? That's probably what's making this all happen, like other people have been stating, right? What are the chances of that? Guys, I'm just going to say this. It seems like we live in some type of simulation, to say the least, right? Because how can you make this stuff up? We're not making this stuff up. We're seeing the tweets and whatnot. Even a better depiction of them worshipping who they worship, as you guys can see. I mean, right? Exactly timed as well. Pretty crazy if you ask me, guys. Right? More people are tweeting about this is a total, you guys know, but you guys have to make up your own conclusion, right? Now, remember, there's a lot of 33 talk recently, but why? From Seek the Truth. At every episode for 33 years. Simpsons legend dead at 64. As you guys can see, this person right here worked on every episode for 33 years. Why the number 33? We're going to be talking about this number, guys. And the deeper sense behind all of this, right? Behind the riddlers and whatnot, cicada, all this stuff. So, this was published on January 3rd, 2023, right? Which is what's another 13. He was the longtime music editor of The Simpsons. Now, check this out. If you go down here, dead at 64, worked on it for 33 years. What do the numbers mean, Mason? 64 minus 33 equal 31, mirror to a 13 event, right? 64 minus 33 is 31, guys. Mirrored is 13, right? We go up here. It happened on this day as well, 13, 1331, right? The mirror, as above, so below, as without, so within. 33. You guys can see. Maybe people will see it. Maybe they won't, right? Look at this. Don't worry. Again, just another quote-unquote coincidence, right? And guess what else happened on this exact same day, right? January 3rd, 2023. Now, guys, we're to the fun part of XRP and the XRP community. Now, this is called White Interesting from Baba Cugs. January 3rd. Brad Garlinghouse tweeted this out, right? Which then, Brad Garlinghouse brings forth the light, right? Shines the light upon what? Regulatory clarity for crypto in the United States. Tweeted on January 3rd, 2023. Exact same thing that took place here, guys, right? And by the way, rest in peace to him as well, right? So, this is why life is definitely short, guys, right? So we must make the best out of it, to say the least. Now, back to this topic right here. Brad Garlinghouse shines light upon this topic for regulatory clarity on the exact day of 13. Remember, I stated this a long time ago that when the case concludes, when they do specific rituals, it's all going to take place on 13, on the day of 13, 33 as well, right? So what I was going to do, but I got lazy, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but if you go throughout the calendar, go on every 13 and 33 day, or another possible 322 day, all these numbers, guys, right? That has a specific meaning or purpose behind them. Well, every number does, but these people use more sorts of the same repeating numbers, right? As you guys can see, 13 and 33. So what I was going to do is go throughout the calendar and check out every day that correlates and matches up with 13 and 33, and that's when the SEC case shall conclude, right? It has to be on one of those dates, and then you just pay attention to the upcoming dates. For example, I don't know, January 3rd, for example, right? If you guys would have had it on your calendar, look at that, Brad Garlinghouse came out with this message. So someone can go ahead and do that and post it if you guys would like to. But now let's go on a deeper meaning to all of this, right? Behind all of this, what does it mean, guys? So from Val Jester, Christ wandered off at 12, which is 3, right? 1 plus 2 is 3. Then and was found among doctors listening and talking amongst them. He had 12 disciples. His ministry was 3 years long and started at 30, crucified at 33. Pay attention, guys. Spent 3 days in the heart of earth after, right? Was betrayed by Judas over 30 pieces of silver. Look at that. A lot of 3 talk, right? Peter denied Christ 3 times. What others can you think of? And it goes on right here. Took them 3 days to find him once he wandered off, right? So it seems like things are kind of, or a little bit scripted, guys, right? Even though we have free will, right? A paradox within itself, because everything supposedly is, but there's only one truth. How can it be? And then You're going to tear down this church, which took 46 years to build, and rebuild it in 3 days, right? The Trinity as well. And guess what else? The 3 Abrahamic religions, right? The 3 fish. Now, this is beautiful, guys. Wow. There are 3 things that last: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. The 3 wise men, right? This is a beautiful phrase right here, guys. Or statement, shall we say, because love is truly the greatest, right? Now, if you go to this right here, Jesus Christ 33, we conclude that Jesus was most likely crucified on April 3rd, AD 33, right? So what are the chances of this? Look at this, guys. A lot of 3 talk, right? Plus, Jesus Christ was 33. Now, this ties in with what, guys? The Riddlers. Why? Let me explain this. Because if you guys go back to Mr. Poole's early photos or images, not too long ago, but maybe a year or 2, and he does post it from time to time, guys. He posts images that depict the rising of consciousness, right, in a more deeper sense. Now, I can't show it because I don't have the photos, I don't have the collection of his images, guys, but someone who does have an archive probably can see it, right? Which we talked about back in 2020, actually. Or if not 2021, right? A long time ago we talked about this, guys. And then it correlates to what? Them guiding the community for higher consciousness, if I'm not mistaken, guys, right? By the way, it is just my belief that the Riddlers are here to guide the community. That's the number 1 important thing out of it all, right? Number 2 comes wealth and whatnot, right? As it states, I'm pretty sure in Cicada as well, guys. So again, this all seems like a entangled spider web, right? But it's the most beautiful one out of them all. Now, next week comes from, as you guys can see, if you go down here, check this out, guys.
There's 33 vertebrae in your spine. There's 33 years in the life of Jesus.
Christ, yeah.
So this substance comes from your medulla, makes the trip down your spine to your sacrum, which is
Quick, get a dictionary.
Christ coming down into human form.
Yeah.
And if you don't squander that essence, that sexual essence, it ascends again and goes back up to heaven, which is your thing. It's also the story of Santa Claus. Why he comes down the chimney is because this juice or this whatever substance actually passes what's called the claustrum, which is where they got Santa Claus. So it goes down the chimney. It's all very freaky shit.
That's wild.
Substance that comes from your medulla, which is basically completely looks like.
So, and I'm pretty sure there's a full video of this on YouTube and whatnot, and you guys can go ahead and check out, right? I'll have all links down below as well. Now, at the same time, there's a lot of 33 talk. Quote, the people of paradise will enter paradise hairless in their of their body, right? Body hair, if I'm not mistaken, beardless, white collared, curly haired, and then age 33 years, right? Age 33, guys. So, according to one of Muhammad's companions, right? Or isn't it supposed to be Muhammad, guys? But now, forgive me of my ignorance because I have not read any of the holy books, right? But one day I probably will, guys, because there seems to be a lot of golden nuggets spread throughout, right? So, update so far, we now know the number 33, quote unquote 33, represents enlightenment or enlightenment itself. Let's move on to this topic right here. The Philosopher's Stone. So, the Philosopher's Stone, or more properly, Philosopher's Stone, is a mythic alchemical substance capable of turning base metals such as mercury into gold or silver. It is also called the elixir of life, useful for rejuvenation and for achieving immortality. For many centuries, it was the most sought after goal in alchemy. The Philosopher's Stone was the center symbol of the mystical terminology of alchemy, symbolizing perfection at its finest, enlightenment and heavenly bliss. Efforts to discover the Philosopher's Stone were also known as the magnum opus, which is the great work. If you go to this next, Wikipedia page right here. Guys, my mind is racing so much right now, or my heart is, but we're going to go deeper, guys. Now, the Philosopher's Stone is the same thing as, basically, it's very similar, or if not the same thing as the Great Work, right? Different labels and whatnot, as we talked about before. The Great Work, occultic traditions descended from it. Basically, accomplishing the Great Work, symbolized as the creation of the Philosopher's Stone, represents the culmination of the spiritual path, the attainment of enlightenment, or the rescue of the human soul from the unconscious forces which bind it, right? Great Work signifies the spiritual path towards self-transcendence in its entirety. This is the process of bringing unconscious complexes into the conscious awareness in order to integrate them back into oneself. So we see how this all correlates together, right? The Philosopher's Stone is exactly the same thing as the Great Work. What else is? There's a story right here about King Midas and his touch. Okay, so let's read the story, guys. The story of King Midas is a myth about the tragedy. What happens when true happiness is not recognized? Midas was a man who wished that everything he touched would turn into gold, right? However, he had not thought that his wish was not actually a blessing, but a curse. His greed invites us to think and realize the consequences that may lead us to become slaves of our own desires. The phrase of the Midas touch comes from from this myth and is used to say that somebody has a good fortune, right? Discover the myth of King Midas and his golden touch. The wish. Midas was a king of great fortune who ruled the country of that right there. He had everything a king could wish for. He lived in luxury in a great castle. He shared his life of abundance with his beautiful daughter, which, even though he was very rich, Midas thought that his greatest happiness was provided by gold, right? Gold as in what? As in the sun, right? This is where you turn, what was it? Lead into gold, right? From the lower to the top, and you reach that state. And then he loves gold, right? A lot of gold. One day, Dionysus, the god of wine and rivalry, passed through the kingdom of Midas. One of his companions, named Silenus, got delayed along the way. Silenus got tired and decided to take a nap in the famous rose garden surrounding the palace of King Midas. There he was found by the king, who recognized him instantly and invited him back to spend a few days at his palace. After that, Midas took him to Dionysus, the god of celebration. Very grateful to Midas for his kindness, promised Midas to satisfy any wish of him. Midas thought for a while and he said, "I hope that everything I touch becomes gold," as you guys can see right here. Dionysus warned the king to think about his wish, while Midas was positive. Dionysus could do nothing else and promised the king that from that following day everything he touched would turn into gold. The curse. Basically, whatever he touched turned into gold, right? Everything. And then, without even thinking, he ate a grape, but it was all turned into gold, right? Everything was, guys. A slice of bread, glass of water. Then suddenly he started to sense fear. Tears filled his eyes, and that moment his beloved daughter entered the room, right? When Midas hugged her, she turned into a golden statue. Despaired and fearful, he raised his arm and prayed to Dionysus to take his curse from him, right? So this story basically tells me what, even though I don't even know who these people are, guys, I just found out yesterday. Now, I just did a little bit of research, right? But the story tells me that King Midas did not realize what? The Philosopher's Stone. But he was gifted the quote-unquote Philosopher's Stone, right? Not really. There's a few parts to the Philosopher's Stone, guys, right? Now, I know for a fact that I'm missing so much out because yesterday I couldn't go to sleep thinking about all of this, guys. But because I get excited when I do. But listen to this. When one doesn't realize it like this, right? When one is gifted this thing, which King Midas was, he doesn't see the curse or the negativity behind it. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but if one truly realizes it, then he could basically harness the power, right? Or now he has full control of it, basically. It's the same thing that has to do with what's the Fountain of Youth. They're all the same thing, guys. The Philosopher's Stone, the Great Work, the Magnum Opus, and the Fountain of Youth are all the same thing. The Fountain of Youth is a mythical spring which allegedly restores the youth of anyone who drinks or bathes in its waters. The tales of such a fountain been recounted around the world for thousands of years, appearing over there. So, the Fountain of Youth, where one basically reaches immortality, right? Which is once again the Philosopher's Stone, right? Which is once again, so when you reach this one state, what do you have? Everything, right? It comes with everything, guys, not just one thing, because you have realized the all, right? Now, in my humble opinion, guys, all of this is just merely a waste of time, right? But at the same time, it is not, because we're going to be talking about why it's not a waste of time. But first, let me talk about why it is. The reason I say it's a waste of time, right? It's because I have found out that if you just truly and genuinely love God, guys, all of this knowledge comes to you as in realizations, right? Without you even searching for any of this. It just hits you randomly. Like, how could it be, right? The closer you love God, the closer you get to God, the closer you get to God, all of this is just bonuses, right? Or gifts from God, guys, at the end of the day, right? Because God is what? The provider of all, right? The loving and merciful God, guys. So, we're going to be talking about why now it possibly isn't a waste of time, okay? Maybe researching this and whatnot. We're going to read a quote from this person called Dion Fortune, guys. Now, this was a long time ago, but she was a British occultist, and basically what happened was she was a co-founder of the Fraternity of the Inner Light, an occult organization that promoted philosophies which she claimed had been taught to her by spiritual entities known as ascended masters, right? Now, since we know a little bit about her, let's read this quote. This is perhaps why it possibly isn't a waste of time, guys, researching and doing this stuff. But in my opinion, the reason I still think it is, guys, but I still do, is because it's just fun and whatnot, right? It's just interesting to pass the time and whatnot, guys. But quote, there are two paths to the innermost, the way of the mystic, which is the way of the devotion and meditation, and the way of the occultist, and this is that part, right? The Philosopher's Stone and whatnot, which is the way of the intellect, of concentration, and the trained will. Upon this path of cooperation of the fellow workers is required, firstly for the exchange of knowledge, and secondly because ritual magic plays an important part in this work, and for this the assistance of several is needed in the most of the greater operations. The mystic derives his knowledge through the direct communication of his higher self and the higher powers. To him, the wisdom of the occultist is foolish, for his mind does not work in that way. But on the other hand, to a more intellectual and extrovert type, the method of the mystic is impossible until long training has enabled him to transcend the planes of form. Now, we must recognize these two distinct types among those who seek the way of initiation, and remember that there is a path for each. So she's saying that there's a path for about the Philosopher's Stone, all this stuff, right? And then there's a path of just truly loving God, guys. So that's why it possibly isn't a waste of time, right? So if this is true, I'm not saying it is, guys. But I'm not sure I disagree with the extrotype and or extrovert and introvert, right? I disagree with that opinion, because you could be whatever you wish to be, guys, right? If you truly do love God, everything else comes as a gift to you, right? Everything, the Philosopher's Stone, the great work, the Fountain of Youth, whatever you wish to turn into whatever you get, right? This is why it's all a paradox, but there's only one truth, right? So now parts of this video comes from my belief, guys, right? So or my experiences. This does not mean it is 100% the truth, right? You have to figure out yourself what is and what not, right? Which I do not know, but I do at the same time. It's to merely to what, guys? Just genuinely, just unconditionally, and just to love God, right? It's super simple and super easy. That is all. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys please like, some amazing day. And you guys, see ya.